Hey everybody, Peter here. Been a while since I've seen you. Now, if you guys follow the channel, you probably saw that I missed an upload last week, both for one of these vlog things and also my gameplay stuff that I've been doing. Reason being, one, I ran out of time to do a vlog. I was busy with a lot of other stuff. I'll talk about that later. And the game stuff is I recently found out that the uploads that I have been putting out of this game weren't coming out right. Just gross stuff. So I'm planning on doing a re-upload of those episodes, and then we'll get back on track now that I've fixed the issue. So there's that. Easy enough, huh? Today I'm going to be working on a project, and I'll get that shown here in just a moment. That was just a moment right there. So we're going to be working on this. We're going to be changing it from that to something with a backlight on it. So we're going to get working on that in just a moment here. And then after that, we will have some more discussion. So stick around, folks. Let's get this set up and work on a project here. Get something done today. Alright, so here we are with the Game Boy Advance. This is just like the standard purple color here. Like I was showing you before, that screen's kind of hard to see unless you got really nice light coming off of it. So we're going to change that. We're going to put a lit screen in here, and should be a lot easier to play. First things first though, let's go ahead and take this apart. Pop out these batteries here. Set those aside for now, and then we've got a few screws to get here. I think there's actually one up there. I forget. But get this going here. Now this kit that I bought for the screen actually came with some screwdrivers. I didn't feel like using those. But it is nice that those were included with it. So we're just going to finish up these screws here. Nothing to it. Okay, I'm just making sure that there's not a screw hidden behind there. But we do have two up here. Ooh. Can't see it from this side. Sorry. Here we go. Set that aside for now. We don't need it anymore. There we go. Look at that. So pretty much all we need to do is we need to get this board out of here, and then we're going to be soldering onto this chip right here, right there, right at the tip of that. Hopefully we can get a nice shot of that. Should be good fun. First things first, we got to take out this screen. Easy enough. We won't be using this screen anymore, so if we for some reason damaged that, not a huge deal, but we're fine. There's gonna be two screws in here. Easy enough. We're gonna set the shell aside for now, and let's do some soldering. I'm going to get that station set up and I'll be back in just a moment. Alright folks, so we have the board set up here. We got a couple clamps going on here, little helping hands. This wire leads to our adapter for the backlit screen. As you can see, I've got this red wire here right on that left leg. On my screen this is reading backwards, but this says DA1. And that's right over that left leg there. So I'm just waiting for the soldering iron to heat up. And all we should have to do is just melt a little tiny drop right there, and we are good to go. Alright, so here we go with our attempt at this. Let me just make sure we got a nice little lead of solder here. And I need a new soldering tip, or probably just a new soldering iron in general, but alright, so there we go. We got that cleaned up. Sorry I had to do that off camera. I just had to get my hands basically up in there and you couldn't see anything anyway. So we do have that cleaned up. It's only on that left leg, and it is not touching this chip below either. There's another chip right below that. So this wire is only touching that left leg. This is what the end of it looks like. So it's basically a ribbon that we're going to plug our new screen into. After we plug in this end to the board. That's not going to focus, but you guys get the idea. It's just a ribbon to another ribbon. The other end of that wire is right over here. I don't know how to turn this without, there we go. So this came pre-soldered for me, thankfully, because this is all flimsy plastic and I would probably melt it. So that wire is there, and that's going to draw some power for us so we can get the screen all plugged in. So let's get that set up now, and on to the next step. So here's our main board for the GBA, Game Boy Advance. We're going to plug this ribbon into where the screen originally was plugged into, and then from there, plug in this guy here. We'll get to that in just a moment. So this, all we should have to do, get that in there. Sure it's in there real nice. And then just click in these sides, which will kind of pull it in a little bit more. Okay, so that is in there. So now we can plug in that screen over here. Let's unbox that here real quick. Unbox, it's in a little bubble wrap, it's an unbox. There we go. So all we have to do for this is we're going to flip this up. There we go. This just goes in like this. Make sure you're putting these in the right way, otherwise stuff's not going to work. There we go. So that looks like a lot of ribbon. We're going to do some fancy finagling here. Let's try to get this plugged in. I grab this back panel here. Okay, grab those batteries again. Now we're just doing this just to test it, just to make sure that it works. Make sure you put your batteries in the right way. Okay, so that is not turning on. I'm just going to double check, make sure I got everything in the right spot. Okay, so I figured out what I did wrong there. This adapter ribbon, I actually had this plugged into the board upside down. I just thought that the contacts were on the other side. Flip that around. Let's see if that works now. And that is definitely working. I don't know how well that's showing up on this camera, but here, let me turn off the lights once. There you go. Now you can definitely see that, and there is some adjustments we can make to that. We will get to that in just a bit though, but that is definitely working. So now the next step, let me turn these lights back on. Turn that off. Pull out these batteries. So that all works, which is great. Set that shell aside for now. So if you can see, on the back of the board here, this is where we put the game in. Right next to it, there's this there's a little potentiometer there, and you can adjust that, you can fine-tune that, and that will make the screen brighter or darker. It's like a little built-in brightness switch that's hidden actually right on the board there. Super super neat trick that nobody really knows about unless you're doing this stuff. But this guy right here, this big, whoops, if I can point at it, this guy right here. Right there. Now to access it while it's actually closed, you need to, here, I will show you. Right under this sticker, do you see that little bump that I made? Right there? There's actually a hole there that sits right over the top of that potentiometer. So you can do this while it's all closed up, and at the end, just peel back this sticker or punch a hole in it. So you can do either way. You can either peel back the sticker, adjust it, close it back up, or just punch a hole through it. You know, I'm going to try to just peel it back and put it back in place, just to kind of leave it, give it a little untouched finish. Now that we have that done, now we have to take care of this front piece here. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove all these buttons. Here, we can set this aside for now. So I was going to just sit here. There we go. Take out all these little pieces here. You know what, we can just do this. Oh, these ones are rubber. Those are stuck in there. There we go. Get all that aside for now. We'll kind of dust this out too. But all we have to do here is get this screen out first off. There's this foam. And where's the best spot? Right up here. I don't have a flathead screwdriver with me. But yeah, there's a little bit of, see, there's this black strip in here. I don't know how well you can see that, sorry. Let's try to leave that in there and not all stretched out and warped. It's a little sticky, of course, it is adhesive. There we go, so we did get this strip left in here. There we go, so there's the old screen. Save that for another project. I don't know, if you need to replace a screen on a bad Game Boy Advance or maybe even an SP possibly. Don't quote me on that. Alright, so there's that step done. We do have a new faceplate too with the nice little holographic going on there. We're going to switch that out too. So all we have to do here, they tell you to do it carefully, but I mean, that was pretty dang easy. So this is the old one. This is plastic stuff. Pretty durable. And then this one's actually a stiff, like a tempered glass kind of finish. So that's going to be really sick in there. So we'll set that aside for now. So this is our new screen, right? And it still has all this protective film on it. I don't know how well you can see that, but this doesn't fit in there. So we have to go in. I'm going to mark this off here real quick actually. With nothing because I don't have it. I thought I had a marker or something on me. But pretty much down here we have to cut some plastic. Down here, this whole bottom strip over in this corner. And this, see this raised lip right here? So we have to sand all that down and pretty much just take out this bottom strip here. I don't know if I'm going to get the camera set up for that, so I'm just going to go take care of that real quick. It's kind of a boring process, but pretty much we're just going to take a Dremel and just file this all down until it's smooth. Shouldn't be too long. I'll be right back when I got that done. Alright folks, I just came back in from Dremeling. This whole bottom edge here and this side along here, it's not the prettiest. It's very hard to actually get the Dremel in there for some of the spots. I went ahead and also installed this front. As you can hear, that stuff sounds awesome. Super stiff screen. Whoops. Let me just go ahead and blast this with some air. Okay. Blast our screen with air. I just took off the protective film. Oh my gosh. So this should all fit in here real nice. Perfect. Do I have a piece of tape handy? I can rip off a little chunk of tape here. Hold on. So this arm we have to fold in a certain way to get it to stay where we want it. Pretty much like that. It's a little crooked. That's not a big deal. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to get all these buttons back in place. And it's really handy because the rubber contact pads have these little holes for the post. So they really only fit in one way, which is super duper ultra handy. Same with these buttons. The buttons have those little stems. So they also only really fit in there one way. Same with that guy there. This piece here, little side accent piece. super quick actual custom thing you could do is just switch those out or RIT dye them if you'd like. Get a different color going there. Same with all the buttons. Except for, well, I guess even the rubber too. But let's get all these buttons back in place here. Now they were smart with the Game Boy Advance, and they used these metal strips instead of the wire springs. So that makes things a lot easier. I'm just going to go ahead and plug this in real quick. Should have done it before I taped it down, but this isn't too bad. Ribbon's really flexible, so. Okay. So pretty much that all goes like this. And we're going to test fit it a few times before we actually screw everything down, just to make sure stuff is in the right spot. Nothing's being force fit. Whoops. This button's a little tricky sometimes. You want to make sure that that's actually lined up on the power button, otherwise you kind of can't really use this. So this should just easily fit back down over this if I line it up right. I'm gonna pop a couple screws in, just a couple, and we will fire it up just to make sure that it still is working. We do still have that last step of the brightness potentiometer that's underneath this sticker, and we will do that last so I can kind of just show you what's up. Now don't forget, if you're using a Phillips screw, make sure to use a Phillips screwdriver. Don't be messing those up. It works, but not that well. So as you can see, this still has a gap in it because we didn't get these top screws in. But I just want to make sure that this fires up still. Let us know that everything is in the place properly, and that does boot up. Again, get some lights off there and you can easily see the screen. Oops. So we can go ahead and undo those screws that I put in, and then get the inside screws for the board in, and then button it up, and then we'll deal with that brightness setting back here. Now usually you shouldn't have to mess with it too much, but we want it to be nice and bright. We want it to be known that this screen lights up, and that is huge for this thing. This makes this a much better system, in my opinion. I'm sure a lot of people will agree with me on that. I'm just gonna go ahead and get these screws back in here so that they're ready to go. Whoops. Or just completely mess everything up here. Not a big deal. Here we go. Set that aside for now, and then we just have those two screws in here. Phillips. Don't over tighten stuff, just snug it down. That's all you got to do. If you start over, oops, screwdriver's going loose on me. If you start over tightening stuff, you do run the risk of, you know, maybe snapping like the circuit board here, or cracking the screen, this or that. Oh, yep, see, I messed up here already. The button that goes over the power button snuck in there on me. So gotta get that back out of there real quick. Now we can tighten it down. So if I would have tightened that down, we probably could have snapped something off over here, which would have been bad. I wouldn't have had fun anyway. This is a project for a friend, so I'd have to replace that. So there we go. So those screws are tightened down now. Let's go ahead and put this back plate back on. Back housing piece, whatever you want to call it. And I always like to mix and match which screw I go to next. So I'll do this one up in the top here, and then I'll jump down to this guy on this side. And I just kind of continue that pattern all the way around. Again, I don't tighten everything down right away. Whoops. Yeah, these screws like to pop out. Just get them all in, and then go back in and, you know, snug them up. So that one will tighten down all the way. That way I don't have to keep re-grabbing screwdrivers. Make sure our shoulder buttons work there. And now we can go ahead and just start tightening these down. Here we go. Make sure everything's tightened down nicely. Fits together well. This guy here. And you'll kind of know when to stop screwing them in when just kind of a quick spin of the fingers there and it doesn't move anymore. I'm gonna call that good. Let's get... There we go, one more. As you guys can see, my fingers. And I'm just doing little short turns, and eventually that's gonna stop. And then that's when I stop. Get those batteries back in there. Whoops. There you go, so the screen works. It's really hard to see right now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to peel this sticker back right here. Just enough to reach the potentiometer hole there. And kind of adjust this screen a little bit. Try to get it as bright as we can. Here, I've got a hobby knife here. It's not really a hobby knife, it's one of these guys here, but you know. Just want to get that edge up. It says I'm butchering this. There we go. Very slow. Luckily I've got these long fingernails so I can kind of just work the edge of this up. Just like that. And then I'm trying to not bend it too much. That's all the further we have to go. Can you see that? This hole back here? Right there. I'm probably gonna have to do this off camera because I gotta see the screen at the same time. So give me just a moment and we'll come back once I get this brighter than this. Okay, easy enough there. Just some quick little turns of a potentiometer. I'll turn this light off again. There you go. That is nice and bright. We can pop a game in there now. Here, I'll grab this guy here. Just make sure this all works. Nice and bright screen there. Game's gonna look good. There you go. How about that? Awesome. So that's done. All right, so now that I got the that Game Boy done there with that nice backlit screen, super duper success. Fairly easy if you know what you're doing. There are instructions online of how to do that if I didn't cover everything clear enough. Very easy, definitely increases the usability of your Game Boy Advance. So you can use it at night especially. Like if you're laying in bed and you want to play a game before you fall asleep or something, definitely want to try doing this. I found the parts on eBay. Do a search for it on there. I know some people use like the Game Boy SP screens, but then again, why not just pick up a second screen and not waste the Game Boy SP? Well, let's go have a chat. So as some of you may or may not know, my mom is battling lung cancer, and she has been for a couple of years now. Recently, she found out that she's got tumors up in her brain, and pretty much the only option is radiation, and she's really trying to put that off just because she doesn't want to deal with the side effects of that. So we're kind of in a tough spot in regards to her health, which is partially why I haven't been active on here. I've just been taking care of her, making sure that she's doing all right, got everything that she needs. Everyone's been really supportive of her, and I thank you guys so much for that. I obviously talk about this quite a bit just because, you know, if people are wondering, you know, like what's going on in my life, that's a pretty big thing right now, is obviously just helping her out through these tough times. Everyone in the family has come together to help her out, which is awesome. I'm glad to see the family come together. Not that we're not close, but just to ensure that she's taken care of here. So thank you for understanding, guys, on that one. I'm going to be getting back into the schedule, though, now that we have most of that stuff sorted out for her. Right now it's kind of just a waiting game and seeing if there's something else we can do. But, you know, it's tough. It's tough just sitting here and not being able to just, okay, this is the problem, this is the solution. You would think that we'd be able to do that, but apparently that's not the case right now. There's a pretty big hospital up north here. Her doctors are going to be chatting with them to see if they have something, some other form of treatment or radiation that we can do to help take care of the tumors. Right now they're not growing, so that's good, but there's some swelling and that can start causing some issues. So it's all just a big, it's a big shit show right now. But luckily we're holding steady. We're holding steady. And we're keeping our heads up. That's all I can really say about that. There were a few days where I was freaking out pretty badly, behind closed doors, just because, what am I doing? What can I do to help? And when you're finding out that you can't do anything, it sucks. It sucks. I'm sure some of you have someone close to you, parent, relative, good friend, brother, sister, anybody that you might know that is battling with something like this. And it is tough. There are people out there that will support you 100%. If you need help, ask for it. Don't try to hold everything in. And it will, it's going to get better in the end, hopefully. I need to choose words carefully here. It may seem like some pretty dark times, but at least you yourself might pull through, hopefully. Just get help if you need it. And that's all I really got to say to that, guys. Hopefully you have a great rest of your day. Keep doing what you're doing. Be productive. Make somebody smile. Stay hydrated. I'll see you guys next time.